Hello and welcome to our final series of the Top 8, University of Western Ontario versus Maryland. After that last series, I'm maybe hoping for something a little more in the 2-1 territory, but it's been only sweeps so far.
At 3 2-0s.
Yeah.
This is the last Canadian team remaining, so get it together, Canada.
Let's jump into the starting rosters. Taking the blue side for game one. It is the last Canadian hope, University of Western Ontario. In the top lane, Epic. In the jungle, Julius. In mid, Chim. In bot, Short Hop. Support, Blaze Nova. And their coach, Disconnector.
And facing off against them on the red side, it's going to be the University of Maryland. In the top lane, Yang. In the jungle, Wezzy. Mid lane, White. Bot and support going to be Alrighty and Quirk with Coach Curry Wave.
And last year, University of Maryland came into the tournament with a confident vibe and unfortunately came up a little short. This year, they've returned a little more humble and with a lot more momentum.
Yeah, they 3-0'd Illinois in the Big Ten Network Finals. And while some of the positions have changed, a lot of these players have been together for a while. Yang is now in the top lane. The former coach Quirk is now their support. And they still have White in the mid lane. This team has been playing together since high school, so they know each other well. They know their play style, and they have really spent years building up this synergy.
And while Maryland does have the full support of the university and the Big Ten Network to go against another grassroots team in the University of Western Ontario.
Yeah, they took down the favorites, Ottawa, in the Eastern Finals, and up to this point, everything has been organized by their team captain, Short Hop. The hope is that this team of 5 challenger players can make enough noise here in the top 8 to earn their support from their university. And Riv and I ran into these guys the other day. They were very excited to be here, a really nice group of guys. And all these players seem very excited to play, very passionate about the game, and kind of just looking to make their mark, to do the best that they possibly can here at an event which could get them some attention and potentially lead to academy opportunities and these sorts of things.
Certainly could. And again, Canada fighting here as the final team left. And also looking to defend Canadian pride in the college program. Again, University of UBC in Vancouver has done it twice. Maryville already out. So maybe hope's looking good.
Well, we're gonna get a new champion.
That's
so
true.
We have that going for us. And we'll have to see how these guys are going to be able to perform, because they did take down the University of Ottawa, I do believe, in their kind of conference finals. So definitely a very strong team in their own right, and that was a 3-0 finals if I recall correctly. So definitely dominated there. But Maryland also looking very strong, and this is a team that returning to the college championship alongside Maryville University. Maryville's already knocked out, but these guys, a very strong team in their own right. And I'm excited to see what kind of styles we're going to be bringing out, right? Because a lot of these teams have really been highly prioritizing Aurelia for one. We've seen a lot of Aurelia mid actually throughout the tournament, very aggressive lanes, which haven't really seemed to be yielding that many rewards at times, but it's kind of one of those situations where these picks are very high risk, high reward, right? If you fall behind on Aurelia mid, you have no safe wave clear. You don't really have any utility either. So if you're going for something like that, you have to be extremely confident that you're going to be able to be effective in the laning phase and really kind of snowball your advantages.
And again, given how kind of one-sided all of the series have been with only sweep so far, with maybe this best of 3 to buck that trend, it's been interesting to see how all the teams that have won and already advanced through to those next spots have played very clean league, but also kind of very distinct styles. So a lot of 4-1 yesterday, much more, I guess we can call it standard from UCI based on the games we last saw, but teams are clearly willing to play different styles and do play them very well. So again, with 2 teams that we have yet to see in the college championship top 8, at least as far as we're concerned, very curious to see how they do stack up, and it will start as always in the draft.
And I'm really of the opinion that in League of Legends, in college play, in university play for sure, but also at the professional level, that there are a lot of champions that really can fit their way into the meta that aren't always utilized very often, because people stick so rigidly sometimes to what they consider to be the elite pick. But if you are more comfortable on something like a Swain, maybe it's not as meta as some of the other picks, but that doesn't really matter because you can still perform incredibly well on it. And oftentimes, when those picks are slightly less meta, your opponents have a lot less practice against them as well. So I do like seeing the unique playstyles. I do like seeing people stick to what works for them and what has kind of brought them here to this event. We'll see what these teams are going to want to bring out.
Yeah, maybe you're really good at Rengar and actually it's going to get banned away. by UWO. Rengar and Kha'Zix actually 2 aggressive junglers taken away from Wezzy.
Yeah, Wezzy, his most played was Rengar, actually tied with Zach. So, definitely a guy who likes to play very aggressively on it. We can see the Aurelia is going to be banned away. A lot of priority has been on that. And the Kai'Sa, taking away from Shore Hop makes a lot of sense because it's the kind of style that he does enjoy playing. He's a guy who's been playing a lot of Kog'Maw, a lot of Jinx. These are hyper-scaling champions, and I do think that Kai'Sa really fits the build there too.
Also a Singed ban, already seen Singed once today, as Ornn also banned in the top side there as well. Certainly curious to see again what comes out. I don't think we're going to get Volibear right away.
No.
Instead, Graves seems a bit more reasonable.
Be iconic for a Canadian team though to pick the Volibear. I would respect that.
Well, maybe it's coming later, as Graves is the first overall
They'll flex
pick
it.
here.
They'll flex it, I'm sure, yeah. But we are going to get the Graves instead. And, Singed is such a headache to play against for so many champions. It's one of those things that even the matchups which are supposed to be counter matchups, really experienced Singed players, and that is a wooden keyboard.
That is dope.
That is very cool.
Hey, let's just back up and
I've never seen that. Let's slow our roll. Here.
Awesome.
Yeah. That is pretty cool. I've actually never seen that. But yeah, I mean, Singed, even the traditional counter picks, things like people say, oh, well, AP Kennen can smash you. And yeah, if the Singed comes to the lane, sure, you can actually smash that guy, but Singed can also just proxy and avoid you and get to a point where he becomes very strong, becomes very tanky. He's going to be a frustrating champion to play against, and he's going to be incredibly difficult to actually avoid in the team fights. Shirelia's was such a big buff for him. Nimbus Cloak as well, which isn't actually, I believe, on this patch. But a lot of the new things that have been coming into the game have been really helping Singed out and making him stronger and stronger and stronger. I
mean, I've heard Time Warp Tonic's also quite good if you want to go that route. So it certainly has so many good options. So I do like the ban, actually, from Maryland as a result. And Ezreal Braum is answered by Morgana Caitlyn. Maryland clearly prioritizing a pretty specific bot lane here.
I mean, it's a really strong bot lane from Western Ontario here. I really do like the Caitlyn Morgana pickup. This is double range. The Morgana W allows you to push in a lot more easily. Does kind of help Caitlyn siege a lot more effectively, I would say, with the Black Shields, kind of allow her to be safely moving up to that tower and avoiding any potential all-ins. And we saw how effective it can be, watching Bloodwater and Latman, how they were popping off with that. If you ever hit the binding, following up with the trap means so much poke damage is going to come through. Likely we're going to see a TP Ezreal. I'm not sure if we're going to see a TP Caitlyn or what kind of the dynamic is going to be there. But it'll be very interesting to see how these two guys are going to kind of navigate it, and how on point Blaze Nova is going to be with the Black Shields, because Black Shielding the Zac engage, Black Shielding the Braum ultimate is going to be so incredibly important. Not only in the team fights, but in the early game, avoiding ganks, avoiding those stunts.
Well, interestingly, we've actually matched picks here as far as positions, or at least expected positions, do go. So now moving into phase 2 of bans, Cho'Gath and Talia will be banned out on either side. Maryland with their final ban coming right up. Let's see what they do want to take away, perhaps targeting another tank. Certainly a lot of options here, but both teams are going to craft their compositions as they move down, and Zoe, one of the other big mid laners here, going to get taken out as well.
Yeah, still have Vladimir on the table. Chim likes to play the Vladimir, likes to play the Corki. Those are his 2 most played. And certainly something that could fit in to this sort of composition. They already have very heavy physical damage on the side of the University of Western Ontario. Certainly have the possibility to look for something like that. Whereas Maryland is still looking to pick up a lot of their damage. This is more of a defensive, a tank jungler initiation from the Braum as well, and leading me to believe that we might be getting a carry. It's in the top lane. It's also possible to run these 3 tank type teams, but with Cho'Gath ban, Singed ban, Ornn ban, you're looking at maybe a Scion if you want to run one of those 3 tank teams with your Ezreal and perhaps the Ryze, but could be pretty effective.
Yeah, Ryze actually picked up here. Carmel is also the last ban, so actually one of White's most played champions, somewhat surprisingly, so doing their homework and taking that one away, even though it would have been yet another defensive pick. And now Western Ontario have to finish off this draft. So where do we go?
I mean, Cassio is available if Chim is comfortable playing into the Ryze. That can be a pretty effective matchup and does give you some scaling there. Vladimir, as I said, also available. This can be tough for Vladimir early on, and you really do struggle to actually have the push because that push is so powerful from Ryze. But the Vladimir, this is a very squishy team here. from the University of Western Ontario. We'll see if they actually are going to go for a blind pick carry top, or if they're going to grab a Scion or something to run up and at least have one tank. Malphite, okay. So Malphite definitely prioritized more highly at the collegiate level, I would say, than it is at pro. And Malphite can be very, very effective, but does tend to struggle into a lot of the AP matchups, is really good into more physical damage dealers and auto attackers, which there aren't that many here on the side of Maryland, but at the same time, Ryze is a relatively short-range mage, and that's Tahm Kench's shot.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, okay, somewhere else, most likely given the early Braum pickup.
So this is actually, it's really funny because Tahm Kench isn't really played that much in top lane anymore, but he has one of the strongest 1v1s in the entire game at the early level. So Tahm Kench's level 2 is incredibly powerful. The potential he has to actually chase you down if he can get his stacks on you. Then he hits you with the tongue lash stun, devours you up, spits you back out off of that. Very likely going to play Grasp. Sometimes people play Phase Rush, but it's much, much more rare. And this is going to mean for Epic, you don't really ever get to kind of step into the minion wave. It becomes very difficult because Tahm Kench can always look for those all-ins. That being said, Tahm Kench has very, very poor scaling as far as actually, what he's adding in the team fights and what he's adding damage-wise. It's more about that 1v1 dueling. It's more about roaming with his ultimate and protecting your teammates. So we're going to have to see, is this enough damage kind of draft out here from Maryland? Can White and can Alrighty really bring enough damage? Because there's so much of an onus on them to be successful for these guys to really be able to punch through team fights.
And even though I do like the Tahm Kench pick, it's kind of a cool counter pick there for Yang there on the top side. And, Malphite is maybe not the best tank as far as, top tier picks go. If you said you wanted a tank, it certainly fits the bill. And just the dive between the Malphite and the Vlad with the very consistent carry duo there in the bot side means that both teams are well set up as they're going to move out onto Summoner's Rift for the final time, at least in the top 8 here. Quarterfinals almost done, only one spot left. So keep playing here in the College Championship.
Yeah, I really would have liked to see a Scion or something from the University of Western Ontario, because this is, look at the amount of magic damage on this team, right? It is largely magic damage from Tahm Kench. It's all magic damage from Zach, all magic damage from this Ryze. Yes, there is a lot of physical damage there from the Ezreal, but you're playing a Malphite in a game where you're going to have to be building MR mostly, right? And he does have a lot of scaling with his armor, and that I think is where he's most effective, but it can still fit. And as we saw, even the Malphite into the Singed game, we saw that Malphite was able to kind of hold even, farm it out. And if your team is not behind, that is some of the most reliable initiation in the game. So they may just have enough confidence that, hey, our other lanes are going to win. We just need some engage. What is something that is guaranteed going to get us into these fights? And that really is something like the Malphite. And you called it out earlier, paired up with Chim on this Vladimir. Hey, maybe all you need him to do is enable your teammates.
Yep, Predator Vlad making another appearance here. We saw Descraton with some real nasty looking flanks in their first game. So we'll see if Chim can repeat that. Looks like both teams are spread out pretty thin here. Julius saw Zach for a little bullet of damage, but no invades just yet here as the same side starts with both these junglers and top laners being good guys as well, going to help out.
Yep, definitely the case. Both guys going to be leashing it up here, and both sides should very clearly know what is going on simply because of when the top laners are showing up. Both bot lanes were already in lane, both top laners showing up a little bit late here. And going to see how Epic actually really wants to kind of play out this lane. How much is he willing to give up? How defensive does he feel like he has to play? Because there is always the potential of a Tahm Kench to simply run you down.
Yep, just like this, Yang gets that first leak down, and already that applies some pressure as a early push on the bot side as well. Sword Hopper, a couple of CS behind, might have missed a few in that wave, but again, Morgana Caitlyn, especially versus the melee support, you want to try and get aggressive and just push the lane as often as you can.
Yeah, exactly. He's really just trying to emphasize the push, making sure he has them under a turret, trying to get as much chip damage in as possible. And when Ezreal's under a turret, it's very difficult for him to actually get the Mystic shots in and try to poke at opponents, which is often how he kind of wins those lanes. So, he's willing to sacrifice perhaps a couple CS. Obviously, it's not ideal, but if you have to be able to get it in under that turret, increase your pushing power.
Certainly better than kind of losing the back end of poke trades, as Julius with a very early invade, actually making it time to the blue buff. Gonna go in, forces Wesley's flash immediately, yeah. No smite just yet for the Graves, but it's up in 5 seconds. Wezzy does have his though, so they have to be careful. He's gonna just try and take it down now. The smite does go over Wezzy, grabs his big buff, but now Julius still fighting here. Gonna lay some damage into quicker. Great binding! And that's first blood over to Short Hop.
Just like that, they try to make the collapse, but a beautiful binding over the wall. The flash ignite coming in from Blaze Nova, and it's Short Hop who gets the kill.
And thrown into the minion wave here for Epic as Yang is demonstrating the power of Tom Kent in these matchups.
Yeah, just being able to kind of bully him out there, but a lot of CS for Epic to pick up here. So depending on how well he does, he could very well end up ahead in the farm game there. And you know, the attack speed slow on Malphite was enough to actually stop Yang from getting that final stun. So here's the play one more time. Cork walking up, but that is just absolute deletion. Once he got hit with the binding, the trap was there to follow. It didn't even need it. That is a level 2 Braum, walking straight in and perhaps underestimating the damage that could have come out, or maybe thinking that White was closer on the play or something like that, but they weren't really in the position to fight that.
These are the kind of Graves versus that games where you're always happy to be in when a lane has priority, you go for an invade and use your early game power, sort of strong arm your opponents as another nice binding lands, but Quirk puts the door up and shrugs off most of that damage.
Yeah, and Short Hop wasn't actually in range to get that trap down to follow it up. You have to be pretty close to immediately drop it, otherwise the trap will miss. So he didn't even bother going for it that time, which totally the right choice, as it would have missed, but it means a lot less damage does come out. And Yang trying to hold on to his TP, but Epic using his to get back to lane, as well as minion dematerializer charge on the cannon, which makes it push in so much faster. But the fact is that this cannon tanking 8 tower shots gives Yang a lot of time to actually get back, and not quite get it, but still is going to be able to have that extra kind of pressure out on the map as they will.
Yep, back to lane, so we'll just pick up the CS. Shouldn't be too much trouble here. Is Julius still roaming up around the map? He's going to get spotted by the speed train.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mistake there. I mean, he wasn't pinged out, so I'm not sure if they noticed that. Like, that was a split second, right? Like, the Graves icon would have popped up on the map, but people would have been really paying attention to notice it. But he did step on that speed shrine, which means he was visible to the University of Maryland very, very quickly. And definitely don't want to give up your position needlessly like that if you can avoid it.
Checking with mid lane real quick. It's like pretty even as far as the CS goes. White already back with the tier, so he'll get charging up. And Shim also going back. His first item, it's full Ionian Boots of Lucidity with Predator now available.
Move speed, very, very important for this Vladimir. Predator obviously is accessed through your boots, so you're going to get boots on your first base regardless, but Lucidity, the CDR is so big for Vladimir. Getting those early levels, getting the early CDR is pretty effective, and already drops the pink, and unfortunately going to be right into the waiting arms there of Julius.
Yep, bit of extra gold there for the Graves. Finding White, puts down the smoke screen and defends his pink ward
rich.
Here.
He's clearing up all the wards.
Another one!
3 in a row.
Man with only 2
Somebody stop this man.
He's killed a lot of control wards for someone with only 2 bullets.
Uh-oh.
Kind of suspect there's a ward right in the brush, actually, next to the other one. So just playing with him a little there. Julius continuing to exert the early pressure that Graves loves to have.
Yeah, he wants to kind of just brawl with the Zac, right? You want to be keeping this this Zac from getting too much experience, from getting ahead. You know you have the advantage in that 1v1, so he's going to take the scuttle. He's trying to play also very heavily around bottom lane and focusing so much on clearing out the vision, because the way that this bottom lane succeeds, the Caitlyn Morgana, is by pushing. And when you push, you expose yourself to get Zac ganks very, very easily. So you need to have your jungler playing around that side of the map to really allow you to play to your win conditions.
And despite the CS keeping close there on the bot side, the push has not really relented, and Short Hop with the BF sword and the safety of the Morgana is just keeping it going. Wezzy on the bluff cone, maybe ready for that. No level 6 just yet, but looks like Zac is not going to make the play just yet.
And that's fair enough, because they don't know where the Graves is, right? So if Graves is waiting in that bush and you go in, and the slingshot gets Morgana black shielded, that could be pretty rough. So it's one of those ganks that you would love to be able to pull off, but if you fail it, it's going to go very bad very fast. And just been clearing out some vision now here with White.
Yep, does get 1 pink ward, but again, Julius back to defend. Now level 6 on this Graves, holding that level advantage, and very quick to the Infernal Drake, actually.
I like this. I mean, they have the push on the bottom side. Chim can roam down as well, and I think they're confident to take a 4v4 fight right now. So starting it up, trying to draw in their opponents pre-level 6 to fight, but They are taking quite a bit of damage here.
Yeah, Epic running over, but again, they're going to get some poke down. Julius straightforward in. Big emo play there from Jim. Going to get 1 kill for it onto White. Now going to chase in onto Worthy. The pull slows everybody else as the play continues, and Yang is here so late on the Tom Kench. Will devour Jim, but Epic going to get rooted in this. Epic under that turret. Gets the Braum there as the play will continue. Ontario just picking up kill after kills. The thick skin will keep the Tom Kench alive.
That's 8 minutes. That's past the tier 2. They're trying to dive there. 4 kills picked up, it looked like there for the University of Western Ontario. Incredible play. Well, 3 kills, excuse me. They got the first blood earlier, but they're going to get the 3 kills. They're going to get the Infernal as well, plus a lot of summoners out of their opponents. So massive advantage gained there from the University of Western Ontario. They had the vision. They had the push in the lanes, and while this was a bit of a brazen play, they knew they could pull it off because everything is spotted out. The trap actually catching Zach there, finding to follow that up. I mean, the fight is almost over right from this point because Chim goes forward, gets the Ignite down. 4-man Hemo play, flashing in, slowing them all down with the pool, and Epic straight through the tower. Flash catches Quirk, helps to finish off the Zach passive there too. And that is just very well done here from the University of Western Ontario.
Yeah, Predator Vlad ruining lives there in that last team fight. And everybody picked up a bundle of gold. 2,000 gold ahead, plus the Infernal now. The UWO as Julius continues to take down his buffs as a Vlad, so happily able to take this one for himself and keep his lead kind of as high as he can make it. But again, we're starting to see Caitlin Morgana tip the balance. Yep. Vlad getting ahead. Everything going right, at least in the early 10 minutes here.
And we're gonna have to see, you know, is Yang able to be very effective on this Tom Kench? Yes, the 1v1 is very strong, but if Epic knows that, he doesn't have to really kind of give you the opportunity. He can play it very defensively and just try to avoid that, try to have more use in the team fights. And yeah, you can always kind of go back and become like a second support, you know, devouring your teammates, trying to play it like that. But it does become very, very tough to find the same level of effectiveness as this Malphite.
Yep. The Epic, it's a little bit more help there with the Catalyst. Yeah, I mean, getting there, certainly. Yang gonna have to do the combo a couple of times to really take down the Malphite, but should be able to bully at least just in the lane.
Yeah, I mean, he could definitely win the 1v1, but, you know, at this point, with the early HP, with some MR as well onto Epic, unless he opts into a fight fully, you're probably not going to be able to get a solo kill or anything like that. So, you know, it's going to be tough. And Epic likely just going to be building straight towards an Abyssal Mask, which is going to be very nice not only for him, but for the Malphite, or sorry, for the Vladimir, who's going to be his dive buddy there. Kind of buffing up his damage will be a pretty big deal as well. And Leslie in the back, looking perhaps for something.
Julius down here. Oh, he spotted the Zach. Now the 3v3 started off very much on the wrong foot. Julius actually over the top. Looking for the Zach. Might try and get the kill by himself, but defense back there as UMD back under the turret.
Yeah, nicely done shutting that down, pushing him out of his jungle. And this they can actually perhaps threaten a dive or continue to at least to push up here and try to get some chip down on the turret. Both mid laners did begin the roam, but then went back to base. And it's going to be Julius moving back over towards the bottom lane once again, trying to threaten a dive.
I mean, I think the threat is enough, honestly, at this point.
Coming in.
Yeah, TP also in as well. That's Epic looking for the ulti. Julius already started the dive.
The Goon Squad.
Gonna look to try and aggress this one out. Alrighty, does go down as there's the first kill. Epic in. Little late, but hey, gonna try and steal the kill as Short Up secures it instead, and they can continue their pressure now.
Trying to secure the kill.
He did. He tried. He should have ulted, really, if he was committed to the play.
Yeah. Well, that feels bad. No assist for the Malphite, but a couple kills there on the bottom side of the map. They're going to get the first turret here as well. And he still have the Malphite ultimate for any subsequent fights, which is very important. You know, it allows them to kind of very aggressively continue to push this up. And we're going to see Epic as well as Julius pushing this in. The bottom is going to swap top. Maryland is very well aware of this, though. They're already sending Alrighty and Quirk up to match this, but they're going to be in a much weaker point. This is already 3 early kills here for Caitlyn, plus the 2 assists, plus the tower gold. And it's kind of that similar situation to Caitlyn versus Varus, where, again, Ezreal's supposed to get to these earlier power points where you're very strong on 1-2 items. Caitlyn's supposed to be weak during that spot, but when you get all these kills, you get so much gold, and you are put way too far ahead.
And this happens where, again, UMD stay around maybe a little too long, and Julius is like, well, I was threatening to dive before, but now I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, they know there's no flash on either of the bottom laners. There's no heal brought on Alrighty, so no real chance for either of them to get out. And even if they somehow managed to escape, Epic would have been there with the ultimate to clean them up. So very, very good play here from Western Ontario. And out to a strong early lead.
Wasn't a wasted DP, it was simply an extremely high tempo lane swap. Is Epic looking for White flash shot? Good flash from White. But again, that summoner now down.
And as a Malphite, you're pretty happy to trade. I mean, yes, you do expend your ultimate. Yes, you do expend your flash, but Rise has to be effective, right? The rest of your team is winning on the Malphite. You're just kind of there as backup. You're there as engaged. So it's not that big of a deal if he loses it.
Ooh, TP in.
You can complete, but not much really going on here for Yang, and that's just going to mean Epic down on the bottom side of the map. He's going to be there to farm this up, and Yang will still have his Abyssal Voyage, his ultimate, kind of move around the map and try to get something done. But it's going to be tough.
Julius again lining up potentially another dive in the same lane. 3v3 here. I think it's going to get started by Where's he going to try and fight? Short Up does get the slap together. Oh, but a great flash from Short Up. Might get him out of the way. Good Glacial Fission knocks the rest of them up, but the damage is just a little too much. Caitlyn, not quite enough to kill the Braum, but
they don't get the kill, but they win the fight. Send him back to base, continue this. Julius is just playing so intelligently. Like, he knows my bottom lane is going to be pushing in. My bottom lane will have the advantage in the 2v2. How do we lose? Well, Zach shows up and makes it a 3v2. So he's just going to basically play around them, get vision around them, lane around them, and constantly set up these plays.
Oh, dive going to start here. That's going to be a dead Rise. White tried to come up and help, but instead pays for it with his life.
I mean, you can't afford to defend that 1v3. With all the CC that these guys have, anything hits you will go down. And keeps the turret alive, but it is sitting very, very low.
See if they stay around here. If they do complete the recalls, one cancel by Julius. Looks like Short Up does want to go back. The second Mystic shot first was blind. Does not quite find the target. So the backs will be completed, but like you said, the turret is all but dead at this point. Alrighty and Quirk come back in to try and reverse that and buy themselves at least some time. Shim here on the other side, continuing to apply the pressure and push in, and we'll take a look at this dive again. I mean, White's like, yeah, I see some CS. This looks great. Oh, no.
Yeah, the binding connects. No flash available. That means the trap is there, too, and just burst down easy as you like. Very nicely done here from the University of Western Ontario. And they're up 4K plus the Infernal at 15 minutes. This is not an absolute smashing. There's opportunities for Maryland to come back into it, but it's going to be really hard, honestly. When you are running a composition that's fairly low on damage, you just have the 2 damage dealers, you're running a triple tank type setup. When your carries are not really strong, you really start to struggle in the team fights because they are not even going to get to free fire. The Malphite is going to be running at you. The Malphite is going to be ulting onto this Rise, and then if the Rise is spending all their time running, does the Ezreal really bring enough damage to just kind of punch through this team on their own?
Yeah, well, Rift out here, 5-man strong for both sides. Team fight does look to be brewing. Jim over the top, Julius with a great smoke screen. Damage still moving in, but again, another nice hero fight finds a lot. Malphite there, in with the ultimate, going to try and finish off the fight as Yang does devour him, but the damage is just too much. University of Western Ontario plowing through the rest of the team fight. Still, only a Zach passive, they do finally secure the kill, and a Short Up out for blood, grabs himself a double. Yang, also low, going to make it 3. No, Jim gets it with his own Ignite.
3 kills, though, again, for the University of Western Ontario there. Very close to taking down Julius was Maryland, but not quite having the damage. Epic finding a 3-man ulti. Shim with another big hemoplague there. These Vladimirs have just been so effective today. Finding these massive team fights, grouping up in that corridor makes you so vulnerable to it, and it's multiple turrets likely going to be going down here. At least one in the top, but White is able to clear mid lane for now.
Yeah, like you're saying, so hard to... I mean, you can't really peel the Malphite with his ultimate making him immune, but Vlad with Predator plus Aurelius is similarly troublesome, so we'll watch this one again.
Yep, Maryland 5 men top, the banner is dropped, the Rift Herald is dropped, they're looking to make this play, but over the wall comes Chim, Epic, and Julius are there. The bottom lane starts to collapse, starts the 5v3, but if you don't kill someone very fast as Maryland, then the bottom lane arrives, and now they do come in. Short Hop, Blaze Nova getting so much damage out of him. Look at Julius, very low. Does stay alive though, and with that, the fight is essentially over. The first man goes down. They probably should have just abandoned Zach and said, all right, we've lost the fight. Let's try to cut our losses. And when they try to stay around to defend, they lose a couple more.
And in danger of getting shot out, I believe. No, didn't get the Rift Herald, so it won't be a perfect game, but the shutout, I guess, on the table is no kills and no turrets as Mountain Drake goes over to the University of Western Ontario. So just a Rift Herald to their name so far. certainly a struggle.
Definitely the case. 5K down, 17, 18 minutes. And it is looking rough, but...
The light of hope. Oh, it extinguished by Epic.
Yeah.
Dematerializer.
Dematerializer. There's still a lot of League of Legends left to play in this one, and we'll see if Maryland can start to scrape their way back in. It's going to require some really good engages. That's really what you're hoping for, and for that you're looking at Wezzy. He needs to catch a carry. He needs to pull in someone like Shorthop, or perhaps Julius, or both, and try to get a kill right away. Because the Vladimir is likely not going to do it. They probably won't have the damage to actually kill him before he can get that pool off. But if you can catch Shorthop, if you can catch this Graves, then maybe you have a chance in the fights.
And also just buying more time to let these carries who do need to farm up quite a lot just get some of their next few items to make those fights perhaps a little bit fairer. Epic though, left-hand side looking for an ulti. And if he can outthink the Ezreal perhaps as Chim. He's going to get collapsed on here by 2, but back towards his team nice and quickly. Good fast rotation there from the blue side.
Yeah, they're able to just kind of group back up very, very quickly. And right onto Yang.
Yep, now going to dive back in. There's again Wezzy going in, looking for a couple carries. That short up over the wall, still safe. Now the re-engage perhaps from Chim. He's being zoned out right now by 2, but the damage still on the other side as Wezzy does go low.
Yeah, it was a really nice engage from Wezzy. I mean, he did catch Shorthop. He got both his summoners, so that is something. And the next fight could be a really good opportunity for them to try to take out this Caitlyn, but you have to do it during that window, really. And the follow-up was just not there, right? If Alrighty and White and everyone was in position, then maybe they get that kill right away and they can continue to chase on. But it's really up to the mid laner, to the AD carry, to be able to make that happen. And it's going to be tough because Caitlyn is to 2 items prior to the Ezreal. And the Ezreal really, with the cheaper items, wants to be kind of that one to make the first jump, hitting the 2-item power spike, and really being very strong around that.
Yeah, White also kind of looking to finish up his tier and have it upgraded into the Archangels. So it does need some more. Sorry, Archangels into the Seraphs. We made it. But again, both carriers looking for at least 2 items, hopefully pretty quickly, before things start to get a little too out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal and Ryze are very strong on 2 items. So if you can get 2 items before your opponents hit 3 in those positions, that's an opportunity for them to fight. Caitlyn hitting 3 is pretty kind of dangerous. That is where I think that champion really does start to become so incredibly strong. And with this Malphite in the front line, with the Morgana to help protect, it's going to be difficult to actually get onto Shorthop and really have the damage.
So we'll have to certainly keep our eyes out, especially with Shorthop Summoner still cooling down for quite a while. There is a window there, perhaps, for Maryland to find his way back into the game and at least get some gold. But again, the Caitlyn game plan is continuing. They've 3 turrets and nothing, continuing to siege up and try and force minions toward the tier 2s.
It's also interesting to see the Hurricane here for Shorthop on the Caitlyn. I tend to think it's a really good buy in games like this. Anytime there's 3+ melee, that is where you're kind of optimizing the Hurricane damage, and it generally ends up being better than something like a Shiv or a Rapid Fire. Plus, you have Ryze, who's kind of this mid/short range mage, so there's definitely potential to be hitting 2 to 3 targets, at all times in a big team fight. So should be a pretty effective buy for Shorthop.
Yeah, looks like a nice siege here coming out. Wezzy looking for something. Ooh, good flash from Blaze Nova. Now the CCX is going to come out, but Epic just finds the ulti. They're going to keep going for it. Chim all the way in the back line gets him on a couple, and now still moving forward. Alrighty does take down Epic, but it's just carnage under the tower.
Julius taking a lot of shots, but he's not going to go down to that turret. It is the eventual 1-for-1 straight, or oh no, it's like 2-for-1 for Maryland, because both the soul laners did go down. It looked good for the University of Western Ontario, but they took so much damage there from the turret, and tanking that turret for so long, and Maryland able to disengage, able to kite back with that beefy team, survive long enough to grab themselves a couple kills.
Perhaps a bit of an overall player, so we'll check in again. The siege is nice, but Wezzy again here with the counter engage.
Yeah, Chim coming in from behind, looking for that big play. Epic, though, tanking the turret the entire time here. He ends up getting taken down. Then Chim in the backside. Everyone turns, focuses on him, and Julius tanking the turret means he has to get out of there as well. So not enough damage to stay around and actually pop that Zac passive.
Well done there. Maryland finally gets some kills on the board. That's a lot of damage done by the Vladimir.
A lot by the Vladimir, a little by the Malphite, 45. But it's the quality of the damage, not the quantity.
That's true, and I guess how many people you get in your ultimate.
It's a brand name 45
more than anything else. Well, game getting not closer just yet, but again, Maryland happy to get the gold and get to that 2-item spot. Ezreal is now there with the Triforce completed. And
Yeah.
White should not be too far away either.
So, I mean, this is an opportunity, right? Like, when you do have that 2-item Ezreal, still can be very, very strong. And before the Caitlyn is really kind of working up, yes, the Caitlyn is still ahead in gold. He does have an Executioner's, which I think is a very intelligent buy here. But this is maybe one of their chances, unless they want to try to play a super, super slow game. If you're looking to fight any time in the next 20 minutes, basically has to be now.
Well, Leslie did lose his passive on the turret before. Looks to lose his life as Julius with the ulti. And we'll make sure that kill is finished off.
It's tough because they have to get in and check that Baron, right? It's 23 minutes in. There's so much damage from Western Ontario here. They can threaten to take that Baron. So Wezzy moves in, tries to get some vision. You know, needed to be with the squad perhaps, but gonna get first down.
Oh, great trap there by Short Hop as Yang TP's in with the Abyssal Voyage.
Oh, another trap.
Does get activated, but another trap chains in. Short Hop dominating. Gonna get the kill and the tier 2 turret out of the deal.
Yeah, Yang just locked down for so long. Trap into binding into trap.
Trap, ooh, not quite.
Nice black shield there. Disengages, and again, they can threaten this Baron. They don't even have to start it. You know, the team has to come over to them. They are actually going to start it.
Uh-oh,
I don't
Short Hop
think
got
they
the
can
ward.
complete this. Yeah, this is a lot of damage they're taking from the Baron. So perhaps should have just prepared for that bait. I mean, they already had the 1 kill, and there was no vision from your opponents. So just wait in the brush when your opponents come over, turn for a fight, right? That is really how you want to kind of capitalize on that, unless it is a guaranteed Baron. And in this case, either way, they get a kill, they back up, they spend their gold. Caitlyn getting closer to 3 items.
Got the Ocean Drake to take as well for themselves. So Canada's finest back on the table. As Chim is continuing to shove things out. Didn't quite get the as impactful Vladimir plays as we saw in his first one, but again, have to be worried on the carry side for Maryland because so threatening when they do dive in, and simple map control here with a 2-man Baron. Both the marksmen shooting away. Build up will collect the last hit on the objective. Continue snowballing strong here for Western Ontario.
Yeah, Graves and Caitlyn able to take down objectives like the Baron so quickly. They have the tank. The Malphite can be in there tanking up the Baron, and they can just kind of focus it down. So again, now it's time. You're on the map. You move it in the jungle as a squad. You clear out the vision. You set up the Baron. That is kind of what their goal is for now. Really looking to get vision in as far as they can, but Maryland might try to fight here. They don't have Tom Kench though.
Yeah, Tom Kench can't make it. With TP at least, either going to have to walk pretty far to get there with the Abyssal Voyage, but he's with a Banner Minion taking down turrets. So again, objectives starting to be collected. Gold is going the other way now. Maryland do get something. Is
nicely done, honestly, from Maryland. I mean, their 4-man squad holds on. They don't give up anything around the Baron. They contest the vision, and they're able to get a turret and maybe pressure a second.
Yeah, going to have to answer now as Epic will rotate down. Has 2 minion dematerializer charges left, but will die to the turret before that happens.
There's also, you know, it's not quite like Shen, Tom Kench, but you do have double global.
Yep.
So they can look to make a play on the other side of the map now. They know Epic has no teleport. They can set up for a 5v4. Yang can go push top lane and potentially Abyssal Voyage to the team, especially when you get level 16. The range becomes very, very big, and that's something where they can look to kind of utilize an advantage, because Epic can't really join for the next 2 minutes.
Again, the same story continues here for UWO, clearing out vision, trying to get their foothold around Baron, but really can't get vision too deep. Wezzy did die before, which did give them maybe some of a window and give them the T2 turret in top lane, but so far so good on the side lane management, despite the gold lead being still pretty large for the University of Western Ontario. They do really want the Baron to just kind of seal the game shut.
Yeah.
And move on to the next one, and haven't really been able to get too much around it just yet.
Nope, they certainly haven't, but there was also not a huge rush because their opponents were on 2 items and so were they. And now you can see the 3-item power spikes are coming through and complete, right? You have 3 items on Graves, 3 items on Vlad, 3 items on Caitlyn. This is your maximum advantage. The completion of an item makes it so much more efficient than the sum of its parts. So when your 3 major damage dealers all just completed an item, they're all 1 full item up above their opponents. Like, you do not get stronger relative to your opponents than this right now. So this is where I need to see the University of Western Ontario either force a fight or just start the Baron. You have to do something with this.
Exactly what they're doing. They do actually manage to grab the binding. Epic going to commit the ulti, and the blast cone makes him go the wrong way. He'll pull back in a couple and try and live for a little while longer. There's a big kill from White. Actually does find Blaze Nova on the side. Chim a little too far forward. UMD kiting out well. as they look to chase down a couple more. Chim, again with the pull as the Horizon's going to move the rest of them forward. Again, Where's he trying to catch a couple, and I think Maryland may have actually turned it all around. Yang gets Chim. There's another kill as Julius does get a counter kill in onto Wezzy, but White falls there as Julius is going nuts on the Graves, and he's turned it all the way back around again. The two marksmen strong enough to hold strong for Ontario.
Yeah, messy fight there from the University of Western Ontario. They got split up. They were not actually able to connect all at the same time, and all these beefy frontliners from Maryland bought their carries a lot of time, but in the end, Julius, Shorehawk, these two guys stayed alive. They're so high level. There's so many items here, and really were able to kind of pull it through in the final moments of the fight.
Only two deathless people in this game as well. Looking very good on the score lines and carrying the back end of that team fight with the gold advantage that UWO still have.
So here it is one more time. And kind of one of the issues here from Western Ontario is how much they committed on the Zac. This is a Zac with his passive available. You're committing a one-man Malphite ult onto that, and that means you're going to have a lot less for the rest of the fight. So great, you pop the Zac, but the Malphite is out of the fight. Your Vladimir is split off from the rest of the team. Look at Shorehawk. What is he getting done at this point? Julius and him were really zoned out of the fight because of where his teammates were. And yes, you want to really force that. You want to get that pick because you're actually a strong point. But it was just too many resources expended on an unimportant member from Maryland, right? So had they held on to that Malphite ult, that's not even a fight that Maryland can really walk in and challenge. All you have to do is poke out that Zac, go to the Baron, make them come to you again, and then re-engage. And it's just these little things sometimes, I think, where the University of Western Ontario could kind of improve and kind of shore up their game.
You can see the damage graph, though, certainly reflecting the work they did to kind of right the ship at the very end. Almost 10k damage between the two marksmen. Graves from the jungle and Caitlyn there in the bot lane. So certainly, again, riding that advantage. Still very far ahead in gold and in total map pressure with 5 turrets to 1, but really do need to kind of take this game a few steps closer to the end. And Epic with a flank. They have the mind games. Oh, what another
nice
great flash by Alrighty, but still going to chase it down again. Damage is good. The ace in the hole actually gets a lot of work done, but now where's he going to dive into the back and try and get a couple things happening back there? Alrighty, almost dead. Chim finds the flank, does get the slow with the Sanguine Pool. Yang saving his other tank by devouring it up and pops the thick skin to prolong the fight a little bit longer. White with the poke over the wall, but it's not enough as Julius, now Legendary, finally takes down the top laner.
Yeah, Yang is extremely tanky, but they have enough damage. They burn him down. The Black Cleaver shred the armor, and you can see Shorehawk has the completed Last Whisper item now. With that Mortal Reminder, is going to be able to punch through the tanks, and this is what I want to see them do. Your opponents have to come to you, just turn, force a fight, and if they back off, then you can go to the Baron, then you can go the waves. But this is, much kind of more measured play, I would say, from Western Ontario.
Yeah, they got Alrighty's TP out of that. You rejoin the fight pretty quickly just to make sure that everything was A-okay. There's also a Drake up. This GM gets cancelled, pops the pool pretty early. Alrighty, ult. Vladimir is going to be forced back here. Perhaps Maryland can look to contest for this objective, but Wezzy is top lane getting that wave pushed out, so perhaps not.
And Maryland is doing a good job hanging on, right? They have not kind of given up the blow that'll break the camel's back just yet. They are very far down in gold, but they are maintaining and barely holding on. And Epic is coming in, though. He has flash, he has ult. This could be very bad, but they're going to pull back. They're just going to go straight for the dragon.
Find some time. Epic instead walks back towards his team. They get the Drake, make it 4 now on that objective count.
But look at Wezzy up in the top lane. It's the split push Zac actually able to knock down a turret there, so not too bad. Getting a trade. This is what you kind of want to do. It's these guerrilla tactics that need to come out when you're down on gold. You need to look for trades because every even trade is in the advantage of the losing team. It brings you closer relative to the total gold. And now, University of Western Ontario starting this up. Maryland does need to stop this Baron. They're going to have an opportunity to get in there and potentially steal or go for a fight.
No vision, though, so they're going to have to do it blind by the looks of things. Ezreal's going to give them a little bit extra information. But here comes Zac over the wall. They're going to stop DPS. Very well played by Western Ontario. Wesley's going to get low. The Baron actually gets a little too low, but still Julius secures it in the end. Chim finds a flank with a big hemo. But the Rise are going to get everyone else out. Alrighty does live through the onslaught, but WO grabbed the objective.
Yeah, really good turn there from Western Ontario. They stop. They focus down Wezzy here on the Zac. Was close, though. The Baron got pretty low, and he actually still had his smite, I do believe. So, was able to almost get that. But either way, they come away the Baron. They're pushing in. The base will be cracked here, and may start to all fall apart now for Maryland. It's going to be so hard with the gold lead and the Baron buff on Western Ontario for them to really hang on to the siege against the Cave.
Yeah, we talked about them needing to be maybe a bit more proactive, finally kind of make that move feel like this is the time where they can force out the bait towards Baron, and successful in the end, do get the inhibitor, which is always what you want as we'll watch this Baron play again.
Yeah, here it is again. You can see the vision denial very good. No wards in the pit here. In goes Wezzy, trying to look for it. We'll see, did he actually get his smite off? And he's trying to burst it down. It's down to 1100. Did not get his smite off. It actually went down to about 1100 or 1k before he died, but not enough to actually smite it. So nothing he could have really done unless someone could have comboed over the wall and really kind of helped him burst it down. Because once you're in the pit, you're stuck, but it's still at like 3k health, which Zach can't exactly kind of knock down by himself.
Nice patience there from Western Ontario as they look to continue their siege with the Baron. 2 minutes of the buff to play with, so a lot of uptime to try and knock down the rest of this game after taking that mid inhib so quickly after grabbing the objective. And we've already seen Caitlyn's potential in sieges. It is a well-known quantity at this stage in League's lifespan, but that turret, yeah, pretty indefensible. Maryland gonna have to defend somewhere else.
The carries are just so strong. I mean, it's four items on everyone, on all the carries, on the Graves, on the Vladimir, on this Caitlyn who has a QSS and a black shield to protect her as well, and so tough. Like, how do you actually get in and engage this?
The answer right now looks like you just can't. Wezzy with a big flank angle, gonna try and find something for the inhib. Already looking to go down pretty close. Doesn't quite get it. Looks to try and get it on the shoulder, but the black shield is great. They do get epic and counter interference, but alrighty, getting shredded to pieces by the Caitlyn. There's 3 kills. Gonna make it 1 more. This could be yet another Penta. No, Julius, he stole it all. The dream is dead, but looks like they're gonna win the game anyway. The turrets will fall. The Nexus is down, and Western Ontario 1 step closer to a semi-final spot.
Very strong showing here from the University of Western Ontario in game number 1. Taking down Maryland, and honestly, was a very clean game. You know, we saw how well they actually pressured around the bottom lane. Very impressed by the bottom lane play here, and also by how Julius was pathing. I think that Julius played this game incredibly intelligently. He knew that he had the jungle matchup, advantage kind of in the early stages. The Graves is going to be able to bully around the Zac, and he knows that his bottom lane is going to be pushing, so he's constantly playing for vision around the bottom lane 2v2, allowing them to push, allowing them to play it aggressive, and he was always there every single time Wezzy tried to go for a gank, tried to go for a play to shut that down, and that kind of core of the team got so incredibly strong off of it. We never really see Yang kind of get to those dividends paid from the Tahm Kench. It didn't really work out as a pick. It was a cool try, but it didn't have the same effectiveness as the Malphite because he didn't really get any lane advantages and because his carries were too weak for his tankiness to really matter.
Epic was just running around, blowing flashes with his ulti, happy to trade summoners, and the carries played Janitor real well in that game there. And again, I think more what we expect in that sort of jungle matchup as we watch a couple highlights back and forth. I mean, Chim also, the Vladimir looking good, but we've seen better already today. But this certainly was very good. They're going to kick off the snowball.
I mean, Vladimir has just been monstrous all day. Like, really seeing the effectiveness of this Predator Vladimir, how well they're able to get into the middle of the fight. They're dropping the Hemo Plague. The damage amplification alone, not to mention the damage that is dealing itself, is so big when you have a team that is splashing damage through. The Piltover Peacemaker coming through. Graves with so much AoE going through the team fight with his ult and his Q. So it's just a tremendous amount of damage coming from the Vlad, plus his amp, which makes him so incredibly valuable. This was a good fight, from the University of Maryland, from a very big deficit. They're able to kind of make some things happen. They did fight it out well, and credit to them for kind of stalling from behind for quite some time, but eventually the carries were just too strong. The University of Western Ontario had so many items on Vladimir, on Caitlyn, on the Graves. They're always, once they hit 3 items, they were always 1 to 2 items ahead. And it's just so hard to actually outplay that, as a team in a deficit.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in the making 2 very strong series today by the teams. I mean, it's going to be hard to top the last series we just saw, but this was very close. I mean, I think one of my few criticisms would probably be that the game stalled a little too much in the middle, but you're not necessarily doing the wrong thing by trying to just be a little bit safer, especially when, you know, you want to make sure you secure the Baron, because they knew they were just one step away from the game basically being over.
Exactly, yeah. I think there were some little optimizations they could have made around that Baron. You know, the one fight they took that we did see where they kind of expended too much on the Zac and ended up almost losing that fight. You know, that is a fight where you can chunk out the Zac, save the Malphite ultimate, back up, bait around the Baron again. You know, little things like that they could have had a little bit more of a clean Baron take, would have allowed them to close it out faster. But, I mean, these are very small nitpicks for collegiate teams. That is something that we're always talking about. Like, you're at MSI and Worlds, and you're like, well, they could have done that Baron better, right? Like, how many times have we seen a professional play Baron throws?
Well, certainly looking good so far. We're stepping away, but when we return, we'll see if Maryland can bounce back in Game 2 versus Western Ontario. That series continues after the break. Julius still fighting here, gonna lay some damage into QuarterFinals. Great binding! And that's first blood over to Short Hop. Big emo play there from Jim. Gonna get one kill for it onto White. Now gonna chase in onto Wesley. The pull slows everybody else as the play continues, and Yank is here so late on the time camp.
Hit front. Yeah, peel. Blobs. Blood, nice.
Yeah.
Go. Nice. One. Nice.
I got him.
He's dead.
Getting shredded to pieces by the Caitlyn. There's 3 kills. Gonna make it 1 more. This could be yet another Panther. No, Julius. He stole it all. The dream is dead. But looks like they're gonna win the game anyway. The turrets will fall. The Nexus is down. And Western Ontario 1 step closer to a semi-final spot.